Hello, family, and welcome back to our channel, where we proudly celebrate Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, while looking beyond the headlines to the stories that truly matter. I'm crying, y'all. I'm crying tears of joy for our girl Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Today is one of those days that simply makes you smile, not because it's gossip, not because of another anonymous royal source, not because someone on television decided to spend 5 minutes pretending they know what Meghan is thinking. No, today is about something real, something earned, something that no newspaper columnist, no social media troll, and no professional royal commentator can take away. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, is officially a 2026 Daytime Emmy Award nominee. Let that sink in. With love, Meghan has been nominated in the Outstanding Lifestyle Program category. That is not an internet poll. That is not a fan vote. That is not a trending hashtag. It is recognition from professionals in the television industry who evaluate programming based on creativity, production, presentation, and overall excellence. That alone deserves a huge congratulations. When Jesus says yes, nobody can say no, not even the most powerful person on earth. So first and foremost, congratulations to Meghan, congratulations to Prince Harry, congratulations to Archewell Productions, Netflix, and every producer, director, editor, camera operator, stylist, researcher, and crew member who helped bring With Love, Meghan to life. This nomination belongs to all of them. And for Meghan personally, it represents something even bigger. It represents perseverance. Because if there is one thing we have learned over the past several years, it is that Meghan never stops creating. When one door closes, she builds another. When critics predict failure, she quietly gets back to work. When people tell her she cannot succeed, she lets the finished product speak for itself. That has become one of the defining themes of Meghan's journey. Think about everything she has experienced over the past few years. Every project she announces immediately becomes the subject of endless headlines. Before anyone has watched it, before anyone has read it, before anyone has listened to it, someone, somewhere has already decided exactly how it will perform. It is honestly fascinating. Imagine releasing a cooking and lifestyle series, and somehow it becomes an international political debate. Only Meghan could post flowers, homemade recipes, entertaining ideas, and thoughtful conversations, and suddenly television panels are acting as though civilization itself hangs in the balance. Sometimes you just have to laugh. The intensity surrounding everything Meghan does says far more about the obsession with her than it does about Meghan herself. Because, let's be honest, if people genuinely believed she was irrelevant, they would ignore her. Instead, every appearance becomes breaking news. Every interview becomes front-page news. Every outfit sparks dozens of articles. Every business launch creates discussion. Every photograph becomes analyzed. Every project becomes dissected before it even premieres. That is not how people treat someone who supposedly doesn't matter. That is how people treat someone who continues to command attention. And despite all of that noise, despite all the predictions, despite all the negativity, here we are, an Emmy nomination. That is why today feels especially satisfying. Not because it proves every critic wrong, but because it proves that hard work still matters. One thing I have always appreciated about Meghan is that she doesn't seem interested in living according to other people's expectations. She isn't trying to recreate someone else's career. She isn't trying to become the next television chef. She isn't trying to imitate another lifestyle personality. She simply brought her own perspective. Whether she was arranging flowers, preparing meals, speaking with guests, sharing little traditions, or creating a warm atmosphere, she approached the show with authenticity. Some viewers loved it immediately, others discovered it over time, but what cannot be denied is that people watched, people discussed it, people reviewed it, people streamed it. And now, the television industry itself has recognized it. That matters. Because awards nominations are not handed out based on how many angry headlines exist. They are not awarded because someone shouted the loudest on social media. They are certainly not determined by royal commentators sitting around a studio table wondering what Meghan should have done differently. Professional recognition comes from the work itself, and that is something worth celebrating. It also reminds us of something Prince Harry once spoke about. He has often said that the best response is not endless arguments, it's continuing the work, continuing to build, continuing to create, continuing to serve. Instead of spending every day responding to criticism, Harry and Meghan have spent their energy building new projects, documentaries, podcasts, books, charitable initiatives, community partnerships, business ventures, entertainment, media production. Now an Emmy nomination joins that growing list of accomplishments. That is not an accident. That is years of consistent effort. You also have to admire Meghan's willingness to evolve. Many people first knew her as an actress. Then she became a working member of the royal family. Later, she stepped into advocacy, then philanthropy, then producing, then entrepreneurship, now lifestyle television. Each chapter has required new skills, new experiences, new challenges. Yet somehow people continue acting surprised whenever she succeeds. At some point, perhaps the surprise should disappear. Success has become a pattern. Not because everything she touches becomes perfect. Nothing in life works that way. But because she keeps showing up. She keeps learning. She keeps adapting. That resilience deserves recognition. One of my favorite things about this nomination is what it represents beyond television. It reminds people that your story doesn't end because someone else writes an unflattering headline. Your future is not determined by critics. Your potential is not limited by people who have already decided who you are. Sometimes success arrives quietly. Sometimes it arrives after years of work that nobody sees. And sometimes it arrives in the form of hearing your project's name announced among Emmy nominees. That is a beautiful moment. I can only imagine how proud everyone involved must feel today. Because regardless of whether With Love ultimately wins in October, nobody can erase the words Emmy nominated. Those words become part of the show's history forever. That is something no amount of negativity can rewrite. There is another reason why this nomination feels so significant. It comes after years of hearing the same predictions repeated over and over again. We've all heard them. Nobody is interested. Nobody will watch. It won't last. She should stop. It will fail. How many times have we heard those exact talking points? Too many to count. Yet reality keeps refusing to cooperate. Instead of disappearing from public life, Meghan continues expanding her creative portfolio. Instead of stepping away from storytelling, she has leaned into it. Instead of allowing criticism to define her, she has continued investing in projects that reflect her own interests and passions. That is something many people can relate to, because life is full of moments when someone tells you that you cannot accomplish something. Sometimes those voices are loud. Sometimes they are relentless. Sometimes they seem impossible to ignore. But eventually, there comes a moment when results begin speaking louder than predictions. Today feels like one of those moments. An Emmy nomination doesn't happen because someone writes a favorable newspaper article. It happens because professionals watched the work. They evaluated it alongside other programs, and they decided it deserved recognition. That is meaningful. It also says something encouraging about creativity itself. Not every successful television program has to follow exactly the same formula. Audiences enjoy different styles. Some prefer fast-paced competition. Others enjoy documentaries. Others enjoy educational programming. Others like lifestyle shows that create a sense of calm. inspiration, and warmth. With Love fits comfortably into that space. Its focus has never been dramatic conflict. Its focus has been connection. Simple pleasures, creativity, hospitality, conversation. Those themes resonate with many people because they remind us that joy often lives in ordinary moments. Sharing a meal, preparing flowers, learning something new, laughing with guests, creating memories. Those are universal experiences. Perhaps that is one reason the program found its audience.
And now that audience has another reason to celebrate. One thing I hope people remember is that success rarely happens overnight. Behind every television series are months of planning, development meetings, script preparation, scheduling, location scouting, filming, editing, music selection, graphics, marketing, distribution. Every hour that appears on screen often represents hundreds of hours behind the scenes. Television is one of the most collaborative creative industries in the world. That is why today's nomination belongs to an entire team. Meghan may be the face of the program, but she has consistently spoken about teamwork. That deserves recognition too. Great productions are rarely created by one person alone. They are created by talented groups of professionals working toward the same vision. Today, those professionals get to celebrate together. Another aspect worth mentioning is Archewell Productions itself. When Harry and Meghan launched Archewell, many people wondered what kind of stories they wanted to tell. Over time, the answer has become increasingly clear. Projects centered around humanity, compassion, inspiration, community, hope. Whether every viewer enjoys every project is beside the point. Creative work is always subjective, but creating meaningful content takes courage, especially when millions of people are waiting to judge it before the opening credits even begin. That pressure would overwhelm many people. Yet, Meghan continues showing up. That says something about her confidence, not the loud kind, the quiet kind, the confidence that says, I believe in what I'm creating. That mindset is something worth admiring. There is also something wonderfully poetic about this moment. For years, critics insisted Meghan's best days were behind her. Yet, here she is, building a media company, launching businesses, supporting charitable initiatives, producing content, expanding creative opportunities, and now adding an Emmy nomination to that growing resume. Life has an interesting sense of timing. Sometimes the chapters people expect to be endings become entirely new beginnings. That is exactly why so many supporters around the world are celebrating today, not because they expect perfection, but because they have watched someone continue moving forward despite extraordinary scrutiny. That resilience resonates. And perhaps that is the biggest lesson of all. Keep creating, keep believing. Keep improving. Keep showing up. Because you never know which project will become the one that earns industry recognition. Today belongs to Meghan. It belongs to the creative team behind With Love, Meghan. It belongs to everyone who invested time, energy, and passion into producing something they believed audiences would enjoy. Whether the program ultimately takes home the Emmy or not, this nomination is already a milestone worth celebrating. History will always record that With Love, Meghan became an Emmy-nominated lifestyle series. That is an achievement earned through creativity, collaboration, and persistence. And perhaps somewhere tonight, while supporters are celebrating this wonderful news, a few professional critics are discovering the oldest lesson in entertainment. The audience watches. The industry votes. And sometimes, despite months of gloomy predictions, excellence finds its own spotlight anyway. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, loves!